Hey everyone, my name is Naima and welcome to Our Social Talks. So today I wanted to talk about how to be a good social worker. Now, one, I wanted to talk about that, but two, I really need to do my hair. So I figured we're going to do both of them at the exact same time. If you have any questions about these bonnets that I have on, always click my link in my bio and you'll be able to shop and buy one. So yeah, moving forward, how to be a good social worker. I think when we think about being a good social worker, we're always thinking about, the policies and the theories. And I think that's great. And I think it's important to know those things. But to be a good social worker, like in real practice, I think the most important thing that you need to know is one, you have to be yourself. You cannot be someone that you're not, meaning, don't put on a show. Don't act like you know everything because your patients are going to spot that a mile away, especially the population that I work with. I work with substance abuse, so these patients are smart. These patients, and not to say other patients are not smart, but these patients are fucking smart. I love them, but they are, and not a character defect, but just the nature of their disease and the reality of the life that they have to live. They're extremely manipulative and they can spot when somebody is trying to play them. So I say, just be yourself. I've always found that to be easier. It's kind of like the saying, what is it? Better to ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. That's kind of how I see it, because it's better to be yourself and, let's say, be yourself and maybe not fit in with the rest of the social workers or therapists or whatever, or be yourself, and some patients may not particularly like that, whatever. But if you're not going to be yourself, you're just going to always run into a bad situation. And so I say this because I've been working in this field for some time now, and when I was originally medical, so I wanted to be a nurse. So I went nursing. I worked in the hospital, and all that was great. I was able to be myself. I never felt like I had to hide myself. But when I became a social worker, I'm not even gonna lie, I felt as if I had to be like a robot almost. Like I felt like I couldn't be who I really was, and my patients picked up on that. I remember a situation where I was working in substance abuse and I was at a rehab doing a drug screen. And one of my patients, I guess because I wasn't really comfortable with it per se, and I think I was just trying to like act like I was, but it was my first time doing a drug screen. Not my first time watching somebody pee, not my first time helping somebody pee, but my first time doing a drug screen. So she was like, "Oh, I bet you like this shit." And I was just like, the fuck? Where did you get this from? Like, what? But then when I look back on it, I can see how, like, me being uncomfortable and kind of having, like, this nonchalant, like, I don't know, like, I kind of have this weird attitude sometimes. Like, I can get very, like, nonchalant and, like, blank-faced. And so I feel like she kind of felt I was, like, not necessarily enjoying it, but, like, getting off on that shit. And I'm just, like, off the power. And I was just like, one, at the time, I was just thinking, bitch, you're crazy. But now I look back on it, I'm like, okay, I can see why. Especially knowing and growing as a therapist and social worker. I can just see where she was coming from. So, yeah. Always try to be yourself. It's easier because I feel like you're not going to... It's like if you're hiding something or if you're not being yourself, that's kind of like lying. And that's harder to keep up than just being yourself. So that's just my biggest thing. Be your fucking self. What else? Know your strengths. A lot of times we feel like we have to be good at everything and we have to know everything. That's only going to harm you as a professional and your patients. So I just feel like just figure out what you're good at and hone that. For me, I know that I'm not good at simple mental health. Like, I don't want to deal with a person who has simple or not simple, but strictly depression. I don't want to deal with somebody who has strictly bipolar, and I'm fucking bipolar. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with trauma. So I don't want to deal in the situation of doing an entire session focused on trauma. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to, that's too much for me. I have a lot of trauma that I haven't even processed. I mean, I have processed in therapy, but then I'm like thinking, did you really process it? Because sometimes you can't talk about it without crying. So I'm just like, I don't know. Neither here nor there. Know your strengths. I can't do trauma therapy. I know I can't do like just regular mental health. I'm not a fan of kids, so I don't want to work with kids, but I am a fan of substance abuse. So instead of forcing myself to do all these things knowing damn well I don't want to do it, I'm going to hone my niche and make sure that I am the best I can be at substance abuse. I want somebody to say, oh, we have substance abuse issues, let's call Naima. On the clock. On the fucking clock. But yes, I want to be known for substance abuse. And so it's okay to find what you're good at and focus on that. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't have experience in other things, because that is important. I feel like you should definitely have experience, but it doesn't mean that you have to work in it, if that makes sense. So the way I'm getting experience is, one, I'm just very lucky that I have worked throughout my entire college, and I feel like y'all should do the same thing. Work in this field for your entire college period, and one, that's going to really show you whether or not you like it or not, and two, that's going to give you a lot of whatchamacallit, it's going to give you a lot of experience. And so that's how I got the bulk of my experience, is doing that. Another thing is taking courses. Now, I can't say that I've taken any recent courses because I haven't, but when I was in college, I took a lot of courses, and so that was really cool. And like certifications type shit. What else? During supervision, my supervisor is really good. She gives me a lot of information to go over. Also, although my job is substance abuse, this particular job that I'm at focuses a little bit more on the mental health. So I do get that experience from there too, which I'm grateful for, because my last substance abuse job was strictly substance abuse. Like, I didn't do, like, yeah, we talked about your depression and stuff like that, but we talked about it more in the sense of a trigger. We're here, we're really focused on the fact that, like, not only is this your trigger, but this is probably like the root cause of your substance use, versus we're focused, the root cause is your substance use, but we know that's mental health played a role in it. Does that make sense? Like, because it's like a little bit different. Like, we're focused so much on mental health at my new job, and I like that. So yeah, I think the biggest thing for new social workers is just work in that field. As you're in college, just work in it. As if you're a bachelor's, work in it. And it's like, I understand that you can't do, I won't say that you can't do a lot, but I understand it's hard to find well-paying jobs in mental health without a degree. But I think you have to be really smart with what you're looking into. If you're on Indeed, if you're on ZipRecruiter, Snag a Job, like whatever you're on, LinkedIn, whatever you're on to find a job, be really creative with what you want to do. So for an example, let's say you want to work with, I don't know, let's say you want to work with kids, all right? You want to work with kids, but you don't have your social work degree yet. Instead of focusing on, well, I want to be a school social worker, why don't you focus on being a substitute teacher or doing some type of teacher work? Because, like, I know, like, we're in a teacher shortage. Don't quote me, but if I'm not mistaken, like, as long as you have your master's in something, you're able to, like, qualify to sit for the test to be a teacher. Don't quote me on that, but that's an option too if you're struggling to find a job after school. So yeah, you just have to kind of be creative with the things that you want to do. And I will say, as long as you can get your foot in the door, everything will work out. For me, I wanted to do substance abuse again. So when I was in my bachelor's degree, I got a tech position at a rehab. And so not necessarily what I wanted to do, but I think I was so used to being a tech from being in nursing that kind of just made sense for me. But if I just went from the mindset of, oh, I just want to be a therapist, I would have never found a job. Especially after I got my bachelor's degree, because I thought when I got my bachelor's degree, I was going to be able to work as a therapist. And not to say that you can't, because I know people who can. I know people who have. But I did not have that ability to get that. So yeah, just find any job in your field, and I feel like you'll be good with that. What else? I think another important thing when you're thinking about being a good social worker is knowing your ethics. And that's something that I'm personally still learning, and I'm in supervision, and I think she does a really good job with I think she does a really good job with explaining and tying everything back to the ethics. And I think that's really important because there have been situations that I have been put into that have directly gone against our social work ethics. And it's just, you don't ever want to be put in that situation because it just makes everything all muddy. Okay? It's like ethical dilemmas. It just makes everything muddy, and people's feelings get hurt. You can lose jobs. Like, it's just extra for no reason. So I just say follow your ethics. If you are in doubt, talk to your supervisor, your licensure supervisor, because if your job supervisor isn't a social worker, they may not be able to help you, nor will they understand a lot of times. That's another thing. Like, most people, even people in the mental health field, don't understand the ethics of social workers. Like, medical don't understand the ethics of social work, and it's like, people just don't get it. And I'm like, it's very strict, okay? It's very important that we follow these things, and don't feel scared, because like, sometimes I kind of get like, oh shit, I have all these rules that I have to follow and I have to be perfect. Like, don't get scared, but you do have to make sure that if you're ever in doubt, refer back. And so if I can, I'll put the link in my link tree for you guys to click through, because it's really important that we know these. Yeah, so what else? So I said ethics, your strengths. You don't have to be perfect. Be yourself. Be genuine, authentic. Yeah, it's just, you really have to just accept who you are. Accept who you are and meet yourself where you're at. We're always talking about meet your patient where they're at. That's important, yeah, but you have to show up for yourself too. And you have to show up for yourself first. Because if you don't, you will not benefit that patient anymore. So, oh yes, that's another thing to be a good social worker. Get some fucking therapy. Get some fucking meds. Do something, because you don't want to bring your shit into their shit. That's just not healthy at all. So definitely manage your mental health. For people who are like me, who have bipolar, bro, get on like a freaking strict regimen, whatever, because if you're out here just raw dogging life, like, that's not okay. Not okay. So yeah, know your ethics. Get therapy. Be genuine. And play off your strengths. So hopefully that made sense. Thank you so much for watching me while I did my hair. I didn't even finish the whole thing on camera, but oh well. You guys have a great day.